Yo, welcome back to Scooter Hacks. In today's video, I'll be teaching you how to bar twist. Now, before we get into it, I just want to get something out of the way so we're both on the same page here. When it comes to a bar twist, you may be unaware of this, but essentially like a tail whip, I guess, there's two ways to do it. Most people, like say playing a game of Scoot, you set a bar twist and your friend sets a bar twist, you both do a natural one, but unlike a bar spin, I would say the hand that you use to do it, depending on your foot stance, is very, very different. So for example, if you're regular like me and you do a bar twist with your right, it's either like that or like that. Now, doing it flat doesn't really make any difference, but as soon as it comes to turning it, the bars start to look very different, right? So the same thing happens with bar twists. I do it with my backhand, I would call it, because I'm regular, my right foot's at the back, and that would make that my backhand. But essentially, if I was to do it with my left foot, then that would be my front hand. That's the way I'm gonna be referring to it in this video. So again, when it comes to 180 bar twists, in stark contrast to the 180 bars, I would actually say that doing it with your backhand will make it a lot easier for spins, rather than, I'll do it switch, you can kind of see. So yeah, when it comes to learning it, I would definitely say the reason that a lot of riders don't even get to this trick is because they do it the same way they bar spin. A lot of riders are goofy right-handed, so that means they do their bars like this, and they don't realize that to do a bar twist like this, the learning procedure is very different to someone that was to do a bar twist like that with their backhand riding goofy, left hand. So for that reason, I think it's very important to kind of learn the according way to your stance and your arm positioning, rather than just learning to the way everybody else does it. So I'm going to do my best to show you both ways. When it comes to starting the trick and learning the trick from flat, I would say the most important thing is to get this movement completely dialed in. You're not going to get very far if you're struggling with this movement itself. So that's going to be the first thing that you're going to have to learn. I'm going to go through it in a second, and I will also say that if you are doing it with your left hand, then you can see or with your front hand, it's very hard to even give the scooter the correct momentum to be able to bring it over that side. So if that is the case, if you do it with your left hand, with your front hand I mean, what I would suggest is riding in the opposite stance. So now if you're doing it like this and you're kind of struggling to get it behind you over to this side, doesn't really work, then what I would do is I would switch stances and now ride the other way. So you're now, for me, doing it left-handed, you'll now be riding goofy, and that will enable you to at least just start to get the motion dialed in. Now for me, being regular and backhanded doesn't really have that problem. I've never had that problem. I think that's why I was able to learn bar twist so quickly. Essentially, all we're doing is bringing the scooter up to enough of an angle to allow the scooter to do the motion itself. Now, it's more the scooter doing it than your actual wrist movement or anything. Like, I've broken my wrist and my wrist isn't even that flexible at the moment, but even so, I can still do the trick, because like I said, it's all about the angle that the scooter achieves, which allows this bar to become heavy enough to continue the motion. Now, as you saw there, the scooter kind of moved a bit around to the side. If you feel that happening, don't be afraid to just bring the bar twist back, because by doing that, by that last half of the motion, when you're bringing it back together, that will bring the scooter from here back to here every single time. So again, if you're doing it with your backhand in your opposite stance, it's exactly the same thing. So I can't bar twist this way. I might actually have to learn them because I don't really like having tricks that I can't do. But that's all it comes down to. So when it comes to actually jumping and doing the trick, it's exactly the same thing. You'll be pulling up obviously pulling with both hands. And when you get to a certain point of the jump, the scooter will stay at that angle a little bit longer than it normally would, and that's when it comes in. Obviously, it probably won't look that quick, but that's what it is. You don't want to, it's not like a bar spin where for some people when they bar spin, they level out and then do it. For this trick, you actually want to do it on the way up. And yeah, at the beginning, it probably won't even level out. It'll just kind of stay here, but that's fine. As long as you're doing the trick, as long as you're learning the trick, I think that's good enough. So yeah, I'm gonna do one head on so you can kind of see what it looks like from the side. Ah. That wasn't my finest. So the last thing that will influence how you do this trick will be your foot positioning. So I'm going to go back a bit further here where you can actually see my feet. I've got a lav mic so it doesn't affect how you hear the video, which is kind of cool. And for the foot positioning, I'm a guy that normally has his front foot 3/4 of the way to even a bit more up the deck, sometimes a little bit further back. And this is one of the tricks where you probably, at least for the beginning, you will want to be bringing your foot a bit further back. Now, the reason I say that is you're going to now have enough leverage to be able to lift the scooter up to the angle I've just been explaining. Now, like I said, the goal you want for obviously for any trick, you don't really, like on a skateboard it would be called a rocket ollie, right? You don't ever want to land a trick like that, but it will definitely help you start. So for that reason, I'd definitely suggest bringing your foot back. Again, if you can't do it at all, then this is probably what it could come down to. So you bring your foot back a bit, and all that will do is that will now allow you enough angle to be able to lift the scooter up. So putting all those things together, you have, as you jump, you're very much focusing on bringing the scooter up to enough of an angle, let the scooter go back, and then at the last second, you're using that motion kind of like this. Okay, when I got home, I realized that the last bit of the clip was frozen, so here I am on a different day and I'm gonna have to do it again. So after looking through it all, I pretty much did have everything said. The last thing I was talking about was exactly each one of the steps, and again, the main important thing are where your eyes are looking, where your body weight is, and if you're putting all of the steps that I've already told you together in the correct part at the correct time. So to summarize, that is to lift the scooter up at the moment that you're meant to, which is right at the beginning. In doing so, it will reach such a degree that the only way the scooter can continue its movement is to keep moving the bars back. And then when it can't go back anymore, that's when your arm starts the movement to come back to the other, and that's where you grab it. Now, your feet are in the bottom, I would say, are in the lower half of the deck, in the half that's further back. So the back foot is going to lift at an angle like this. It's quite important, because if your body weight isn't allowing your ankles and your whole body to even move upwards, then what's going to happen is you'll actually be fighting against yourself to do the trick. You can't progress any further because your actual body is stopping you from doing it. So it's vital to allow your body to move and perform the trick. So as it comes back, as I said, you're essentially you'll be using your triceps to push it away, and then here, once it gets past that half, which you can kind of see here, this is when you bring it back. And that'll be the case for both the front hand that I've said and for the back hand. As if you look as me doing it in Goofy, it's still exactly the same. The only difference is it's actually harder to take it back, as you can see here. So for that reason, if you're doing it front-handed, chances are you'll be doing it a little more to the side. Now again, bar twist can also be to the side. I would say to learn, it will be easier if you're kind of aiming more to the back, but then with time you can bring it forward again. So the last important thing to look at is where your eyes aren't really looking, but it's where your eyes are looking in the trick. Now, sometimes you'll be so focused on this arm that when it comes to bringing it round, this arm isn't there. So my eyes, when I do it, my eyes are normally looking at the alternate grip. So if I'm doing it with this arm, my eyes will be about here, which is where I'll be catching it. So you'll be looking, and bang, that's it. Now I'm gonna do a few more bar twists just quickly, and then I will be seeing you in the next video. So the next trick tutorial I plan to be doing is whip bars. Here where I'm living at the moment, I don't actually have a proper skate park, so I'll be relining them flat, which will be quite exciting. So stay tuned for that. Like, comment, subscribe, and all those good things, and I'll see you in the next video. Okay.